Hey everyone, welcome back to Goblins 2. Last time, we made it into Amoniak's castle. Here we are in the kitchen, although I think the game refers to it as a storeroom. I guess he stores all of his cooking implements here. Anyway, there's a lot I could do here, but I don't know what any of it is. So I'm just gonna leave for the moment and go off and find out what I need to do. Now this looks a lot more promising. There's the prince right there on that pedestal. But I can't just walk up and take him. He's being guarded by the ignoble Amoniak himself, plus his two goons, Glodziak, lover of cockroaches, and Kapak, lover of meatballs. So I think I'll just take this pepper here, and continue on my way. Of course, I can't just walk in front of these guys. I'm gonna have to sneak around behind them. And that means getting to this upper level. Yeah, it's gonna be tricky making our way up there, but we've still got that stool from the last chapter. Let's try that. Alas, Fingus can't figure out how to pull himself up. Perhaps Winkle will have more luck. He at least offers his buddy a boost. And now the tricky part is just getting Winkle up there to join him. This is something where it's not really interesting to see the failure state. We just pop through that door, and once we walk through the ears of the throne, we're on the other side of the room. And once again, rather than stop to mess with everything, I'll just move on. There is an objective here, and we're about to find out what it is. So here we are in the courtyard, and now there are people we can actually talk to.
You must love your new king. You've, painted him with such enthusiasm.
Oh yes, I do love him. He has made me his official food taster.
Well, it does sound like an enviable job. But let's have a chat with the royal scientist.
Greetings, noble scholar. Tell me, how does this machine work? It's a shrinking machine. That terrible demon forced me to build it.
This is the machine he's talking about. It doesn't do a whole lot by itself. Before we get Winkle over there, let's have him chat everyone up.
It's a fine picture, but why is that ladybug there?
The new king will only eat ladybugs. I slide them in under the steps.
He's talking about this hole down here. Now, I'm not sure that food taster is such a great position when you have to eat ladybugs.
No.
And Winkle's got more sense than to stick his hand into that hole. Let's see if he can get any better information out of the scientist.
Hey, Einstein, could you give me something to, trap the demon? Of course there's a way. Get him to taste the elixir of kindness.
Hey, it's that elixir that I've been carrying around since the second chapter. Finally, we've got a use for it. But we'll have to get the demon to taste it, so for now, let's just shrink ourselves. I was going for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and instead I got Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. We'll need to swap places to get anything interesting out of this. By which I mean nothing useful at all. So we'll just reach into the feeding hole here. That didn't do anything either. And the armor, which has been taking up most of our view? Not a thing. We can, however, get up to the helmet if we push this suspicious brick over on the wall. And now let's see who's inside. It's a baby!
If you will allow me, sir, you don't look too comfortable there. I am the true king here. Only my crown can return me to my kingly stature.
Okay, so we've got our quest. Get the crown back, and get all the demons to drink the elixir of kindness. So let's head back to the storeroom and start the chapter over with that in mind. So you can see that cook there grabbing meatballs out of a big pile and putting them in front of that hole where Kapak presumably grabs them from the next room. Well, it seems pretty simple. All we need to do is put the kindness elixir directly on the meatballs. But Fingus won't do it. He's not going to put anything on somebody else's food. We're going to have Winkle do it.
Yippee! No! It will spill, and he'll throw it away! Yippee!
I have no idea why he talks with Fingus's voice there. But there is one other thing we can put on food, and this he'll actually do. Of course, it takes a while for the whole thing to play out. The cook is currently holding the meatball with the pepper on it. He inspects it, presumably doesn't actually find anything suspicious about pepper all over a meatball, and passes it through.
Horrible, wretched, inedible. These meatballs are much too spicy.
We'll be able to use that shortly, but for now, we need to find some other things around the room. These little pots over here look interesting. But they are not. There's also a much bigger pot, which is more likely to have something worthwhile in it. Bigger is better, right? Well, of course, there's a fellow in the pot. But Fingus can't interact with him because he's got to hold the lid up. So we'll get Winkle over there. He at least finds something he likes in the pots. And now he can talk to the fellow.
Oh, you look really delicious. You'll make a lovely roast. Oh, get lost, Pinhead. You're in my light. Can't you see I'm taking a dip?
So, nothing useful there. Now there is another shaker up here. We can't even target it. But the swordfish on the other wall is key to this puzzle. And now Winkle can take the salt. I don't think there's any actual hint in the game for needing to do this, but we need to salt the guy in the pot.
Ah, bath salts. You're okay after all. The file in the pot. It's yours.
And now that he's told us to look for it, we can find a file in the pot. Not that it's clear why we need a file at the moment, but Winkle does have some nice nails. The other interesting feature is this cage up in the upper right next to a rope. But we can't climb the rope, we can only hold on to it. The key here is this other rope in the upper left. They're connected, of course. Pulling one will pull the other. And that's going to be our key to getting to the upper shelf. We just have to time it properly. And like most things in the game, that's difficult to do, especially when the things you're clicking on are as thin as these ropes.
What are you doing in there? My love waits for me outside.
Yeah, that's not an annoying sound effect at all. But the bird wants to be freed so he can get to his love, and of course we've got something that's perfect for opening cages. But we can't saw the bars off the cage for some reason. We need to saw this chain above it. And the bird flies off, cage and all. Which is good, because that makes our way clear to these thumbtacks. And the thumbtack is the final element to the key to getting past this meatball puzzle. See, when Kapak lifts the chef, we can put the thumbtack under him. Put either salt or pepper on the meatballs, and then get the kindness elixir ready, because we're only going to have a split second to act here. And again, gotta keep track of which meatball it is.
Horrible, wretched, inedible. These meatballs are
And that was a bit too slow. Which, of course, means that I need to go get another thumbtack, because the one that I had is consumed. This game doesn't penalize you the same way that the first game did, but it will certainly make you do things over and over. I'm not really sure which is worse. Then again, this game does have saves, so if you're worried about screwing something up more than once, you can always save and then just restore to before you made the mistake. That assumes that you're on the right track in the first place, and that your problem is just timing. I don't know what Fingus's major pathfinding malfunction here is. He can't seem to get over to where the cook is. But I think we've got everyone in position now.
horrible, wretched, inedible. These meatballs are
And he didn't even try.
horrible, wretched, inedible. These meatballs are
Alright, third time's a charm. We finally get some kindness elixir on a meatball. And I think Kapak will be well taken care of by the time we get to the next room. Alright, that's one down, 2 to go. And that goofy smile is never going away. So next we need to deal with a lover of cockroaches. That's going to require being over on the left side of the room. And rather than deal with a stool puzzle again, since I've been to the armor screen, I can just use the movement command to get myself there immediately. And then just walk back to the throne room. And that's one puzzle I don't have to repeat, as long as I was careful. So, we need to get a cockroach and put the elixir of kindness on it. And the trick here is this tongue on the wall. It opens the eye in the throne, and if we have someone inside it at the time... Alright, well that's our other objective complete. We got the crown. And when Fingus does it, it releases a cockroach. Fortunately, Glotziak will take a while to eat that cockroach, so we've got a moment to grab it. We're not going to be able to do it from that side, though. There's a little window on the right side, which is where we're going to need to grab it from. I'm not going to waste your time watching all the different animations that can happen in the meantime. So let's just pop on through and grab that thing. If we can ever make our way to the bottom of the screen. And yes, we need to get back to the left side again. If you're playing along at home, you'll probably be using this shortcut an awful lot. So the key here is that we need to distract Glotziak while we grab the cockroach. And once again, I'm just going to jump a step ahead in the puzzle rather than showing off every failure along the way. Once we actually manage to get the timing right here. And tell you that Fingus won't grab the cockroach unless he's wearing a glove. So, we get the cockroach out. Go down and grab it. On the right side. And then we have Winkle go distract Glotziak by sticking his face through the hole. Alright, now for the easy part. We just put the cockroach back through the same hole, doused in kindness elixir. And it's just Amoniak left to go. Of course, he only eats ladybugs, and we haven't seen any ladybugs around. Other than the one that's painted, and he's clearly not going to eat that one. So we do know something that looks a little like a ladybug, with just a few minor alterations, such as its entire appearance. So, annoyingly, we have to get another cockroach. But it's considerably easier this time. Now that Glotziak is pacified, we're not going to need to distract him again. And if I can position the characters correctly, we can just grab it without having to worry about Winkle doing anything. In fact, I don't know if this is even time critical. He may just never eat the thing. But rather than worry about that, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab it. And now we're pretty much done on this screen. Let's head back to the armor one final time. Well, not quite final. I mean, we do still have to rescue the prince when all is said and done. But here we are. And before I do anything else, I think I better give the king back his crown.
me free so I can teach that demon a lesson.
Long live the king! I'll go and find someone to help me release him.
Now, as far as I can tell, that has no actual effect on the game and is completely optional. And I can't do anything to the king at this point. Even his armor still sounds hollow. But we can grab one of the feathers from his hat. And that's going to bring everything together, because we can dip the feather in the can of paint to make a sort of makeshift paintbrush. It's adventure game logic, don't question it. So with a brush the same color as the ladybug in the picture, we can just put the cockroach in front of the feeding hole, where a ladybug needs to go, and paint it. And then put some pepper on it to make black spots. There we go, looks perfect. We just put the kindness elixir on it. And send it off to do its work. And Amoniak's not so much pacified as just completely gone. This is King's Quest IV level stuff right here. But we can finally rescue the prince. I was kind of hoping he would just hold him over his head and do it da-da-da-da. But Link's Awakening already did that joke. Yeah, we're not really leaving the prince behind. He manages to get to the next screen ahead of us. See, he's now a third selectable character. We can move him around. He'll do very little, unfortunately. He can move pretty much anywhere the other characters do. He just doesn't. And there's almost nothing that he can really interact with. Just one thing in this whole place, and that's that machine up there. You might have noticed that it has 3 buttons. Fingus and Winkle have already pushed 2, but the prince is now in position to push the 3rd one. We just need to get the characters positioned under the shrinking machine. And finally, it will do its job. We bring the other character along, and we can finally move out of this area. Not that it's really clear why we need to leave the area. We just sort of shrink and go into this little room. And I guess this is the demon's study? Seems to have some sort of sealed correspondence here.
It's a seal! So what?
And a skull with an eye in it.
Strange! An eye in a skull!
It does seem like the most sensible place for it. And there's a locked box over here. Let's see what Winkle makes of all these things.
Ah! It smells like honey. Can you eat it? Despite his advanced age, he still has a sparkle in his eye.
I do kind of love that line. I don't know why.
Yippee!
And there's a cockroach in the room. Awkward.
It's the first time I've seen a cockroach wearing sneakers and shades. Oh, it's odd. We get eaten all the time here. Oh, have you seen my brother?
I probably have.
Hello, friend cockroach. It's not easy getting around here.
Don't talk about it, but you can use a magic card for that.
I believe this was a clue that was lost in translation. The words in French for card and map are the same. Carte. And the map that happens to be on the table here has a picture of the village.
Now, 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 now.
But we can't do anything with it. It is, however, a magic map, and it is our key to getting out of this room. We just need to figure out how to activate it. So the first thing we're going to need to do is grab this match over in the corner. Pretty much the one thing here we can pick up. And poke the eye. Yeah, I don't really know why either. And Fingus won't do it. But we just dislodge the eye from the skull and then use it. As usual, one character gets the object, the other has to actually do something with it. And we're just right back to where we started. Yeah, time to think way outside the box. The prince comes into his own yet again. He doesn't do much, but what he does well. There's also this candle over on the side of the room.
It's a nice candle, but it has no wick.
We're going to need to get a wick for it, and that bookmark sticking out of the book is exactly the sort of thing we need. And I guess it's covered in wax.
What do you want me to do with a bookmark?
Well, we can maybe use this glass shard to cut it. No, but there's a knife right there. Which we'll need to grab by the handle. And it's going to take both characters to move it. And there we go. Now we can cut the bookmark.
What is this? I'd like to use it to pick my teeth.
Or not. For one thing, the knife isn't actually close enough. We need to move it twice.
What is this? I'd like to use it to pick my teeth.
And for another thing, only Fingus is smart enough to use the knife to cut the bookmark. And the rest of the puzzle kind of falls into place. We just need to make a wick for the candle. And then light it. But there's nothing there to click on anymore. We can't use the match. Not that we could strike it. But if we hold the glass splinter in the ray... Fortunately, everything happens a lot faster in this game than it would in real life. We get a ball of wax. We press it into the seal on the envelope to make a key for the lock. And, of course, that somehow mysteriously opens the locked box. And we get a seed. Now, I don't know what a seed would be useful for, but there really is only one place in the room that we haven't found a use for something. And we've grown a giant beanstalk in the tiny map village, which, because it's a magic map, corresponds to a giant beanstalk in the real world. And homeward we go.
Fingers and Winkle climb down the giant beanstalk provided by good fortune.
At last, we've made it back to the village, but the prince doesn't seem to want to come down.
Little prince, please! You're holding us up! Come on!
No, I'm hungry. I'm starving.
Yeah, we're gonna hate the prince by the end of the game. If you don't hate him already. We're so close, but we're gonna have to save getting into the village. Until next time. See you then.